Alright. Okay. I'm bringing it back. Oh, let me just lay down real quick here in the bed, get real comfortable. I'm bringing it back. Bringing back Le Podcast. I'm by myself right now in my bedroom. And I've been wanting to do this for a while. This is Jonah, aka the Nothing Expert, aka them big fluffy cheeks. I figured I'll start doing this once a week. Eventually, and I'll probably do them pretty short. I prefer listening to very long podcasts, like 3-hour long ones. Just going on a big gaming session and just putting some headphones on and listening to a long podcast. I love it. But I'll probably keep these short, starting out. And if people care, ever, I will. We'll see what we could do, because I normally won't be doing this alone, so it'll be easier to go longer. I figured my topic for right now would be, this has kind of been talked to death, to a certain extent, and I'm sure that what I'm going to say here has been mirrored elsewhere, but I've actually never heard anyone make this argument, but I'm not, like, searched it out either, so, I mean, this might be something that's been said to death. Regardless, what I'm trying to say is, I hate when, you get on YouTube, and, if you listen to any music that was made more like a decade plus ago, you'll inevitably see a comment that says something along the lines of, I was born in the wrong decade, or my favorite is when they'll, to compliment the song or the whatever they're watching, to compliment it, they'll put something else down. So they'll say, for example, this Nirvana song, it'll be a Nirvana song, for example. Oh, this song, this is so good. I'm 15. Nowadays, all my generation has is Selena Gomez and, like, Bruno Mars, just two random people. It's like, what is that? What does Bruno Mars, Selena Gomez have to do with Nirvana? It's like Nirvana was getting the exposure that they were. I mean, okay, obviously Nirvana was explosive and huge, but it's just different. It just is. And kind of go back in my argument is, it doesn't really matter what's popular and what isn't. That doesn't affect the music that exists out there. It's still being made more than ever, and it's more accessible more than ever. For example, if you want to listen to bands like Nirvana, you could find a trillion copycats. That's not. I'm not even saying that's a bad thing. If Nirvana scratches that itch for you, you can. And let's just say you listen to all of Nirvana's music one day and you just want more. You can find a trillion bands that mirror that sound. It's not hard. Same goes for other popular acts. There's a few artists who have hardly any comparisons. If you're listening to something like Death Grips, you're going to be hard pressed to find something to scratch the same itch. Thankfully, I'm not a fan, so I don't have to deal with that disappointment of if you've listened to everything they've released and you've listened to it a lot and you kind of want something else, you pretty much got to wait for them. You can't expect to have another band who's similar, or another group, I should say, who sounds alike to scratch the same itch. You pretty much have to wait for Death Grips. That's just one example, and that's also off topic. So anyway, but yeah, you'll see those comments. I saw one recently that was really funny. I forget what it was, but I remember the comment said, "This song is so much better than other pop music, like fucking Panic at the Disco," and I'm quoting what the guy said. And it was on a Carly Rae Jepsen video, and I love Carly Rae Jepsen, but you could, to the outside observer, she could be seen as just mindless, stupid pop music. It's very good pop music, but Panic at the Disco's fine. I mean, their first record I was there for that. I remember when that came out. That was explosive. Explosive for that little corner of music. But I remember my little circle of friends, it was being played all the time. They got some good songs, some good nostalgia throwbacks, and not everything that they'd put out. It's not really my cup of tea, but Brendon Urie is a really good singer. He's very talented. You can't deny he's got a lot of talent in his voice. He's got a good voice. And honestly, his voice was made for pop, I'll say. As much as I prefer the sound of that first record, and also Pretty Odd, the second record, he's got that Justin Timberlake thing going. He might as well take advantage. It's useless to put someone else or something else down to compliment something or someone else. You don't have to just say, "Oh, I hate this song is so good, it's so much better than this other thing, this other song." You could just say, "Hey, I love this song." If Carly Rae Jepsen sees that comment, she's not going to say, "Oh, they think I'm better than Panic at the Disco." Hell yeah, she's not going to think that. She doesn't care. Unless the two situations are comparable. Like, let's say, someone leaves a comment on a cover video and they say, "Oh, I like this better than the original." I think that's fair. That's a fair compliment. But I think that's any logical person could see that. But I'm still getting very off topic, and I apologize. But what I'm trying to talk about is this whole idea of people born in the wrong generation. You were born in, one decade, but you love something from another. And this is obviously just something done without much thought, or this is a comment said without much thought, because most people who say that, I believe, I could safely say that anyone who says that is more than likely young. And I'm not, I'm 24, and I'm sure people my age have said, but I'm saying on the younger side, like the early half of their life. I don't think I would hear someone. Well, I'd love to hear an old person say, "Oh, I was born in the wrong generation." Why do you say that? Well, I'd like to be born now, so that I'm not old and I'm born now, because that's kind of how I'd feel. I'd almost rather be born right now, because I'll get to see technology will just be better. I'll get to live with more improved technology. Well, and as I say, I'd like to be born now, and that does kind of bring me to the counter argument to my statement, which is, if someone said, "I wish I was born in the wrong generation," and they were talking about, the political climate, like, right now things are obviously, hectic in the political world, in the world at large. So if someone says, "Oh, I'm born in the wrong generation. I wish I was born during peacetime, like during a decade of peace." I mean, I feel like that's fair, as long as they've accounted for the fact that, their cell phone, their laptop, their car, their friends and family, that's probably all gone. And, yeah, see, that's the thing. People listening to a 50 song, leave a comment, "I was born in the wrong generation. All the music from my generation is garbage." And they'll always say their age. That's how you know. I'm 15 and all my friends that listen to is this pop radio garbage. This is the real music. Another argument is that pop music is good. There's a lot of good pop music. It's not my favorite genre, but there's a lot of good stuff there. Every genre's got something to offer. So that's another subject, though. Anyway, so they'll leave this kind of comment, and it's so silly to me, because I feel like a lot of people really believe that, and they really fetishize and paint this picture in their head of a different era. So it's, they'll think of they just think that whole era is black and white. They don't even realize that things were actually in color back then. They probably just in their head think that if they woke up in that era, they would be black and white and sitting in a burger shop with a girl bringing them their milkshake and burger on roller skates. And of course, I'm sure you've seen the memes where people say, "You wish you were born in the wrong generation. Don't worry, we still have sexism and racism now, so you don't worry about it." Which is sad, a sad truth. But I'm thinking that I'm trying to really refer mostly to music, because this is really where I see it bother me the most when people say this is. And here's the main point I'm trying to make. Let's say you love 90s music, all right, and you really, really wish you could just have been born earlier. in the 90s. Like let's say you were born in 99, so you're a 90s kid by definition only. You didn't actually live it, which is fine. But let's say you just love everything 90s. You love the style, the music, the TV, the aesthetic, everything. You loved it. Well, here's the thing. Everything that's been released in the 90s and that would have been released is out. So let's say you went back in time and were born in like 85. So then you did get to spend your, the teenage years, a good chunk of them at least, in the 90s. You would have had to have waited and lived through the 90s. And, had to have waited. Anything new you wanted to come out, you'd have to have wait for it. Let's say you're born in 99, and now it's 2017, you're 18 years old, you're a teenager now, you're an adult, essentially, now, and everything from the 90s is out. All the TV shows, all the music, everything, it's out, and it's on the internet. You can just get it. You can just, it's just available. You don't have to wait for it to come out. It's just there. And people still make 90s inspired music. So you could get everything from back then. You just get it, all the cartoons. And you can get all the music, everything, all the movies. You could just you get them. They're all out. It's there. It's at your disposal. Not only that, but so is everything else from every other era. An unending amount of media to be consumed. If you watched it all today, tomorrow you'd wake up and have a lifetime worth to watch just in a day of how much stuff gets uploaded to the internet. It's a miracle. The internet is amazing, and it's not appreciated enough. I believe it's amazing. It gives you everything you could want in terms of entertainment. So yeah, and I'm sure that someone who's obsessed with a certain era, it's not the only era that offers things to them that they like. So you can have all your 50s music and, the songs you like from the other eras. It's just all out. Let's say you really love the 90s, but there's some music from, that came out in 2013 that you love that album. Your favorite album is from 2013, but you generally like the whole sound of the 50s more. Well, I think I got that right. Yeah, so you go back to the 50s and, well, there you are. You're in that time. But, can't listen to that 2013 album. And that's another thing. Let's say you're obsessed with the music of, like Buddy Holly era. You love you some Buddy Holly, which, he's great. Who no one's blaming you. But let's say you just wish you were born then and could live through that music. You're never going to be able to hear some Buddy Holly music because there's no internet. You can't just... Music was so much more difficult to access then. So, it's a stupid thing to say. It's a stupid thing to, comment on. And I'm sure a lot of the times, too, it's not just the music. They're saying it because they've... I guess, like I said earlier, they fetishize the whole era. And they're only seeing this romantic, pretty picture of it. And I don't think I have anything more to add to the discussion, but yeah, so your homework for tonight will be this song by a guy named Alex Cameron. It's called Running Out of Luck. You need to look it up. Alex Cameron with the song Running Out of Luck. I'm really obsessed with this song right now. And it's speaking of this nostalgia, speaking of that in a way, it is certainly a nostalgic song. Really reminds me of like Bruce Springsteen. It's great. This song is great. And I'm not even a Springsteen fan. Sorry, but I'm not a fanatic for the guy. But I can't say that I've listened to him enough to just completely put my foot down on that subject. But regardless, this Alex Cameron, Running Out of Luck. This song is amazing. I would recommend listening to the song first, not watching the music video, because the music video is a little silly. I love the video, but the video is silly, and I've shown it to some people, and they don't even notice the song. Like they'll just be they'll start kind of laughing at the video, and and by the end of it, I'm like, "What'd you think of the song?" They're like, it was, I don't know." They didn't really even pay much attention to it. So I'd recommend just looking up the song on Spotify or whatever first, and then check out the video. I think I love the video. It's you can tell what they're trying to do. It's funny. He also has another good song called "She's Mine," which from his album before his newest one, and it's a totally different vibe. But man, I love the song. It's so good. I really couldn't tell you which is better, but it's like a completely different sound. It's great. So yeah, Alex Cameron, look him up. Some good music, and if you like that kind of like the Springsteen, more power to you. And there you go. This music, this Running Out of Luck, the song I'm recommending to you, just came out like within this year, and so like I say, and that's in a completely different. That's not a modern sound that the guy's going for, or a modern style. I really enjoy it. This is the Nothing Expert. Have a good one.
Alright, I'm back. Actually, on further recollection, I was thinking about everything I'd said, and a lot of the times too, when people make these comments, specifically whether you have these people, the '90s kid fanatics, and these are people, and this was my childhood too, where they remember the Saturday morning cartoons. They remember, well, I mean, when I was a kid, it wasn't just Saturday mornings, of course, but that was when most kids got to actually really enjoy them without having the dread of going to school later. You got up early enough, you'd see something. I remember when I'd wake up at a certain hour, there would only be like the Tiny Toons was on when I'd wake up. It never anything particularly good, obviously, but Saturday mornings they knew what kids wanted, so they had the good stuff playing. And so a lot of times you see these comments, it's a lot of times it's just nostalgia for a time they actually lived in, and I feel like that's fair, and because I do believe it's better to live now, presently, with a present mind, and a forward mind actually would probably be better. But I understand it's normal to pine for a time when you things were easier. You didn't have bills, didn't have debt, you didn't have a job, and what were you doing at the time? Well, you were playing '90s video or whatever era you're born in. You were playing the games of the time, the music of the time, watching the TV of the time, and so when you hear those things or experience those things, you are brought back mentally to that time, and it makes you miss that time. So I feel like that's a fair point that I kind of didn't think about when I made my first argument. I still think it stands, though, that you should still look at the bright side and think about everything you have access to now, and it's only getting bigger. If anything, you should want to be teleported 50 years in the future and be able to have and experience everything between now and then. Of course, the only downside of that being the possible state of the world at the time, because, I don't want to be too negative, but you never know. Not particularly amazing, but, who knows? I'd love to be pleasantly surprised and proven wrong. That'd be great. It's just a lot of work to do. But, anyway, I'm done now. That's all I have to say. For now, at least, I'll probably end up wanting to keep adding to it, but hopefully I won't have to. So, again, Alex Cameron, Running Out of Luck. I was just actually, before I got on this whole spiel again, I was actually I was actually watching all his music videos. I wanted to make sure I'd seen all of them, and I just finished them. So, again, I think Running Out of Luck is still my favorite that I've heard from him, but like I said, She's Mine is also very, very good. So, anyway, that's your homework. Running Out of Luck, Alex Cameron. Again, sorry for the extended ending. So, yeah, I'm still doing it. Alright, this is the Nothing Expert. Goodbye.